Learning to animate is tough, but here's what I'm doing to learn how to create the quality of animation that I love easier with the programs that I have at my disposal. One of the most effective ways I've been learning animation is by reanimating scenes from my favorite anime films and TV shows, using the software that I'm already familiar with and already have access to. I've invested in various courses online, for example, like this Colosso course, Intro to In-Betweening Animations and Practical Skills by Boksum Kim. But even with top-notch resources, learning can still be a challenge. Have you ever struggled with learning something new because of a language barrier? The course is fantastic, but the instructor does not speak English. So I'm constantly juggling between reading the subtitles and trying to absorb what's being taught on screen. While I'm incredibly grateful to learn from such a talented anime professional, the language barrier often forces me to pause and rewind just to catch what I missed while reading. It's a bit like trying to watch a subtitled movie and take notes at the same time. It's not the easiest thing to do. On top of that, the course is based in TV Paint, which is an amazing but super expensive software, in my opinion. The standard version alone costs around $710, and the professional version is nearly $2,000. Unless you're a student or a teacher, in which case you can get a significant discount. But for a beginner like me, that's a pretty hefty investment, and there's definitely a learning curve to mastering it. So how do you keep going when the tools are costly and the lessons are hard to follow? You find workarounds. In this video, I'm going to show you how I've been navigating these challenges and reanimating one of the most iconic anime films, Spirited Away, using Adobe Animate. Another incredible source for learning animation is Blaise, a true animation legend who's worked on some of the greatest Disney classics that we all grew up watching. His website, creatureartteacher.com, offers a huge library of courses that dive deep into the art of animation. Now, while Aaron mainly uses TV Paint as his go-to program for animation, he also offers courses in Procreate and Procreate Dreams for iPad users. But here's where I ran into a bit of a challenge. My background is primarily in illustration and in apparel design, so I've been using Adobe software for most of my life. I'm already paying for Adobe's monthly subscription, and it's constantly updating with new features that I have to stay on top of. Adding another program like TV Paint with its hefty price tag just didn't make sense for me at this point. So what's the solution when you're trying to learn animation but you don't want to invest in new expensive software? I decided to get creative. I took the foundational lessons from Aaron's courses and then applied them using Adobe Animate and Photoshop, which also has animation capabilities. But here's the thing. There aren't many people out there that's using Adobe software to create animation at the level of a Spirited Away or Afro Samurai animation. That's when I thought, why not reverse engineer these scenes from some of my favorite anime using the software that I already have? My goal is to see what kind of look I can achieve and figure out a workflow that suits me as an independent animator. Adobe Animate is a vector-based program that feels a lot like Adobe Illustrator, but with the added power of an animation timeline. It's versatile enough to create everything from a television series to commercials, websites, and other interactive projects. So let's dive into how I've been experimenting with it to bring iconic anime scenes to life. For my latest study, I went to SakugaBooru.com to download some clips from Spirited Away. Once I found the perfect clip to reanimate, I opened it in Adobe Premiere to trim it down to a single scene. I make sure to end the clip before any new angle or scene appears in the timeline. One thing that I've learned about animation is that it's incredibly organized and meticulously planned out. Storyboards are a crucial phase in the animation process, and understanding them is key to mastering the art. Brian Rose broke down a masterclass on storyboards in my Afro Animation documentary, Is There a Future in Animation? If you haven't seen it yet, I'll leave a link below or at the top so you can check it out after this video. Now, one of the classes from Intro to In-Betweening Animations and Practical Skills dives into the tracing techniques for capturing the mood of keyframes. The instructor breaks down the skill needed to trace original drawings so that when you create those in-betweens, the character stays consistent and doesn't start looking off. This exercise is essential because in any animation production, multiple artists are drawing and they're touching the same subject. As an in-betweener, you have to maintain continuity, and that may mean drawing in the style of another artist, which may be different from the style that you're most comfortable with. For this study, I'll be tracing each frame from the original in Adobe Animate. By sticking close to the original style, I can learn what made the animation so special in the first place. And when I move on to animating my own original characters, I'll be able to apply the techniques that I learned from this study to build my own mental library and align my work with this amazing scene. Think of it this way. If you want to learn how to build cars, you don't start by going out and trying to create one from scratch. Instead, you will work on an existing car, take it apart piece by piece, and actually learn how it works. There's no need to reinvent the wheel. We already have cars that work perfectly. This approach allows me to break apart the vehicle of animation and get a close-up view of all the moving parts so that I can eventually create my own brand, so to speak. For me personally, I'm a very hands-on learner, so I need to go through the motions to actually retain the information and truly learn. This is a huge stepping stone for me in animation, and hopefully it can be for you too. After I finish outlining every frame of my sequence, I play it back and make sure that everything looks good and closely resembles the original. This is actually the perfect time to test your skills and add any extra frames if you want to smooth out the animation even more so, and challenge yourself to draw new frames you can't trace. This helps you practice maintaining the continuity, an essential skill for working in any animation production. Next up is color. This was my first time coloring in Adobe Animate, so I spent a lot of time looking at other people's workflows and experimenting with the options to speed up the process for myself. Animation is incredibly time-consuming, so for context, an illustrator might take 1 to 2 weeks to finish a single piece of art. But with animation, you probably want to move a little faster. This exercise is perfect for improving your drawing speed because you need to maintain a healthy output of drawings to see your progress. This is one reason why animation productions are so expensive. I read online that it costs between $1 and $2 million per episode to produce the Boondocks. When you break down a process like this, it makes a lot of sense. One of the reasons why I wanted to make this video is to help educate people on animation costs and why good animation is more expensive. For this particular scene, it's a close-up, so I didn't have to worry about background art, which made the process a bit simpler. After coloring, the final steps were to add highlights and shadows. I made sure to complete each step one by one so I can focus on the animation. Trying to animate everything at once would have undoubtedly led to me missing something. Animation is a very detail-oriented process. I've even stopped listening to music while animating because I want to dedicate my full attention to it without any distractions. This is a tip I picked up from Richard Williams' The Animator Survival Kit, which is a must-read for any aspiring animator. Once I played back each frame and made the necessary corrections, I was ready to export my video. But I ran into an issue. The video exports did not look the same as they did inside the program. So the workaround that I found was to export the frames as images and then import them into Adobe Premiere or Adobe Photoshop as a sequence to create the video that way. And here's the final result. I had a little fun with the voiceover, but since it was a little bit too inappropriate for YouTube, I posted it on my Patreon instead. In the spirit of this video, I created a Yubaba Spirited Away t-shirt. So there I was, scrolling through endless Spirited Away t-shirts online, but nothing really caught my eye. You know that feeling when you're really looking for something unique, something that just really sticks with you, but all you see are the same old designs? That pretty much was me. Then it hit me, like, why not just create something totally new and something fresh? I dove back into the animation stills I made from Spirited Away, and I thought, what if I could just capture a moment in motion, like a transition between the frames? Now, that would be sick. I zeroed in on 2 frames that perfectly captured that sense of movement and magic. With Adobe Illustrator, I started the fun part, redrawing the frames, carefully adding shading and bringing the colors to life. It was like breathing new life into these moments, one stroke at a time. Next, it was time to get creative with the design. I started playing around with different shapes, experimenting with the text, figuring out what I wanted to say, and trying to get the perfect layout for the back of the shirt. Now, once I nailed that, I thought, okay, what can we do with the front that's just as cool but completely unexpected? Now, I realized there was something missing in all those other designs online that nobody had really captured Yubaba in her bird form, at least not that I had seen. And here's where my childhood kicks back in. I've always been obsessed with flying, so I thought, why not turn that fascination into some art? I decided to give Yubaba her wings and put her in a unique spot down on the lower left corner of the shirt. Most shirts go for the safe center chest or left chest position, but I wanted to come off a little different. I love the idea of keeping the shirt vibe almost minimalist. Like, at first glance, it might seem simple, but then boom. You notice this cool-ass sunglasses wearing flying version of Yubaba at the bottom. It's those little things that make a piece stand out for me, but you let me know what you guys think in the comments. I made it a small 10-piece drop that will be made to order in sizes extra small up to 3X, but it's only available until September 30th. So if you'd like a made-to-order custom apparel art tee and custom poster art featuring this art, order yours before they're all gone on blmtd.com. If you learned something from this video and you want to support the journey, I'd love for you to join my Patreon community. By becoming a member, you'll get exclusive access to behind-the-scenes content, discounts on my limited edition apparel, early previews, exclusive art, and even get to see some of the more offbeat animations and adult illustrations that I can't share here on YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and hit the like button if you enjoyed this video. Your support helps me continue creating content like this and brings us one step closer to making the vision a reality. And if you want to learn more about the current state of animation from some of the best in the game, you'll want to watch Afro Animation 4.0. Is there a future in animation next? And if you're wondering how to find your own animation style, you'll want to watch How to Find Your Art/Animation Style as well. My name is Tree, and feel free to leave me any questions or comments about this video below. Thank you for watching, and I'm looking forward to sharing more of this journey with you. We'll talk soon. Peace.